Hi, I broke my leg. I'm making this video on Sunday evening. Today is June the 8th, I believe.
Yes.
It's about 9:30 at night, and I have had one adventurous day, to say the least. So I thought I'd just come on here and tell the story. So I was getting ready to go on vacation in a week, starting next Sunday, which I think is the 15th of June. So I went out this morning to work, and I was pulling my trailer, as I typically do with my truck, and I was at the back of Walmart this morning to deliver my product, and it was raining, and it was dark, and it was 3 a.m., and so I was loading my cake onto my hand trucks, my carts. And I was doing that inside my trailer so that the cake wouldn't get wet from the rain. And I couldn't get in until they opened the door to the building, which they do at 4 o'clock, or sometimes a little earlier if I get lucky. And so I got all my carts. There had 3 carts, about 65 cases of cake loaded onto my carts. And I went out and lowered the rear door of my trailer, which is a ramp door, and I lowered that to the ground, and kept loading cake onto the carts inside the trailer. And after I got them loaded, I started to roll them down the ramp door, the rear ramp door to the trailer, the wet ramp door to the trailer. And as I got the first cart about halfway down, I started flying like one of Elon Musk's rockets. And I just lost my footing, and I took a tumble. And I remember banging the heck out of my head on the back of the ramp. And I remember the sensation of my leg being twisted in a way it's not supposed to. And I think I blacked out for a few seconds. And when I came to, I had the presence of mind to somehow gather myself and pick myself up. And I got all the boxes back on the cart, and I rolled all 3 carts into the store, hobbling. I don't know how I did that, but I did. And I got all my product checked into the store, and I worked the store. It took me 3 hours. And I remember the receiver said to me, "Man, you are white as a ghost. What happened?" And I was sweating profusely. And I told her what happened, and she said, "Well, that doesn't sound good." And my ankle was beginning to swell, and I thought it was probably a sprained ankle. So I went to work, and I kept working, and I got it done. And I had plans to go and work other stores, but when I got it done, I was hobbling pretty good. You may remember the Tim Conway old man character from the Carol Burnett show. That's kind of how I was walking, just kind of shuffling along, almost unable to put any weight on that particular leg, my right leg. And so when I left the store about 6:30 this morning, I decided that I was done for the day, and I was going to have to go to the hospital. So I called Marina, and I told her what had happened, and she said, "Go straight to the hospital." And she met me there. Bless her heart, she's hurting herself, but we're a couple of we're like in a, it looks like we live in a junkyard or something. I don't know. We're a couple of broken down vehicles or something. But anyway, I drove myself to the hospital, and by this time my leg is really hurting. I got out of my truck and I started trying to walk into the hospital, and I could only go it was taking me forever. And by this time I was really hurting. And there was a security guard at the entrance to the ER who had mercy on me, bless his heart. He went and got a wheelchair and rolled it out to me and put me in the wheelchair and rolled me inside. And I got checked in at the receptionist desk. Everybody was great. Hats off to everybody at the hospital. St. Vincent's in Birmingham. And I gave them all my identification, my insurance card, and all that jazz at the receptionist desk. And a few minutes later, they wheeled me into the nurse's station, and she took down all my information, took my vitals, and she looked at my ankle and said, "It's swollen pretty good," and it was. And so she rolled me back to an exam room, and a few minutes later, the doctor came in, and this is where it started getting fun. And he asked me what had happened, and I told him, and he pulled my socks and shoes off, and he started probing the ankle area, which was a lot of fun. And he put his thumb on the inside of my ankle and pressed and said, "Tell me if this hurts." And it didn't hurt. And then he put his thumb on the outside of my ankle, and I about came out of my chair. And he said, "Okay, let's get some pictures." And he left, and a few minutes later, a lady came in with a mobile x-ray unit, and she took x-rays of my leg. And a few minutes later, after she left, the doctor came back in and looked at me and he said, "Well, is it sprained or is it broken?" And I said, "Please tell me it's just sprained." He said, "It's broken." So I had worked that a whole morning with a broken leg, basically. As I understand it, you've got two legs in your two bones in your leg, your tibia and your fibula. And from what I understand, I was a little loopy already. I believe I broke the smaller bone, which I believe is the tibula. I believe tibia. I believe. But anyway, they wrapped me up in a splint, and Marina collected me, and they rolled me back out and released me. And I came home, where I've been ever since, and with pain medicine. And tomorrow, which is Monday, I have to call an orthopedist and get an appointment with him. His name is Dr. Clark. And I assume I'll see him tomorrow. I don't know, but the ER doctor told me in all likelihood that Dr. Clark was going to put it in a cast and re-examine it and see what else has to be done. I don't know. That's where things stand. So anyway, here I am. Here I sit. It's 9:30 at night. I've been back and forth in bed. Getting around is an adventure. Thank the Lord for Marina, and she's really helping me a lot, and I really appreciate it. Learning to use crutches that's a new experience. I'm not very good at it. I need to watch a YouTube video on how to use crutches, I think. But she helped me out with that as well. Anyway, I'll see the orthopedist, I assume tomorrow, and get more information, and we'll go from there. And I'll try and get back on, folks, and give you an update on the old leg. And man, I'm so disappointed. I was going on vacation. I was going to get to see all of my children and have a good time, but that's not going to happen. But anyway, we'll just deal with it for however long we have to deal with it, right? So that's what's going on. Thank you for your prayers, and thanks for thinking of me. And I will find out more, hopefully, tomorrow, and I'll let you know what's going on. And maybe we can get to talking about what's in the news, like the fight between Musk and Trump. That was interesting, don't you think? And the riots in LA, yeah. things of that nature. All right, that's what's happening, and I will check back in maybe tomorrow and let you know what the doctor says. See you, everybody.